Morning, chaps. How the devil? Welcome to the BBC Spews for the 11th of April. I hope you all had a marvellous weekend. You know what I did this weekend? Just to get the Oxbridge pleasantries out the way before we do some skull fucking news. I stupidly told the owner at our local brewery that I'd do a pub quiz because I love a pub quiz, me. And this is going to sound almost bigoted in its broad brush reach. But let me tell you, Sadwings, American, okay. Americans are absolutely dog shit at pub quizzes. I got the idea, right, when we were in Hawaii and I was in a bar and they had a quiz on. They call it just trivia night, trivia. Obviously, pub quiz is a staple of any local in the UK. And I was always surprised at how good they are at them, man. Old blokes in England. Again, like I've talked about, because I think that a lot of working class people, it seems to be normal in the UK, nowhere else that I've lived, that all the working class lads read the paper every day. Like I said, when I used to go in a cabin when I was 16 and I was working at Lackenby and British Steel and all them shitty places in Borough, all the different blokes would have a different paper. You know what I mean? So whenever I got a break, I'd go in there and I'd read all the news. I mean, granted, I'd start the fucking sport on the back and the funnies, the cartoons, but then I'd always read the rest of it. So, you know, every day I'd have 10 minutes glance through the Daily Mail and the Daily Mirror and the Sun and the Star, and there'd be about 6 lads and everyone would make sure they got a different paper. And that's my hypothesis as to why English people, certainly compared to the rest of the Union even, right? The English just have a little bit more common sense. And that's my hypothesis. It's because all them people who do hard work for a living read the paper every day. Because I'll tell you what, I was looking to see if I could throw it up, but I've found no way on StreamYard. Maybe I'm being an idiot. To share just a picture, an image. It says you can add files as slides, but I don't actually know what that fucking means. Anyway, so for one of the rounds, I made, I did to try and stop cheating. So I did 6 rounds, general knowledge. I made it easy because I know it's geared towards Americans. So I did general knowledge, American presidents, American geography, general knowledge, and then I did a round called famous wankers. And I just screen capped images off using a quick Google search, 10 famous people, and I printed them out on a bit of paper and I passed them around all the tables and said, right, all you have to do is name these famous people. And I made it easy. Not a single person in there. There wasn't loads of people. It wasn't shocker. It was a Sunday night. There was about 7 teams playing, probably about 30 people all in. And not one person in the entire place got, because obviously I've picked famous wankers, right? That was my chirpy round name. So 4 or 5 of them were famous wankers from history, and 6 were like famous wankers. And I picked Piers Morgan, he's a fucking wanker. Couple of people got him, which, how easy is that? That is a piece of piss. He's on the telly now. I picked Matt Lauer, wanker, newsreader. I picked Billy Bush, because my missus hates him, wanker. Who else was there? Shia LaBeouf, who's a wanker. And then I think they were the only ones people could get. The other ones I put on there, right, was fucking, well, actually, I can share, I'll just do the Google search. Right, tell me, let me just find a quick image of this cunt. I mean, I'm trying to get it so you can't see the text on the screen. No, you can't, can you? Anyway, so fuck it, I won't bother. But this is the fucking photo I put up. That one. Right? Not a single person in the entire building. Not only did they have no idea who Pol Pot was, who was most definitely one of the world's most famous wankers, but nobody in there knew who Pol Pot was. This is like 30 grown-ups. Some of them were in the 50s and 60s. I was like, looking there with a microphone, and I went, right, the answers. It's not fucking Kim Jong's dad. It's not, because the shit people wrote. It's not the bloke who owns the fucking local Chinese. Well, he's every face on there, Davey, you fucking lunatic. Which side of the screen? They're all Pol Pot, aren't they? Because I just did a Google search for Pol Pot. They're all the same fucking guy. Well, maybe it's except for that geriatric in the middle somewhere. Nobody in the whole building. And when I was saying the answers, right? So this is where I'm telling people the answers and mocking them. It went down really well because I was sort of doing it a bit like Gordon Ramsay. I was just torturing them the whole way through. And the man's here because of Rotten Politics. Well, Rotten Politics is obviously a splendid fellow with excellent taste in men. Nobody knew who Pol Pot was. And they had random shit in there. And when I said Pol Pot, nobody had even heard the word. Like I said, Pol Pot. There was like a middle-aged family in the middle of the pub. And I was like, Pol Pot? And they were like, yeah. I went, Khmer Rouge? No, nobody. And everybody in there was just looking at me blankly. I was like, you people fucking disgust me. It was a good laugh because they were all taking the mockery. They love British people taking the piss out of them. Americans. They're nice people. I said Americans are nice people, friendly people. They love Europeans. And when you torture them in an accent, they love it. So it was a really good laugh, but I was just torturing them like the whole way through. I was like, I can't believe how stupid you people are. I was like, never heard of these people. Never heard of Pol Pot. Never heard of Khmer Rouge. What were the other ones that nobody could get? There was one, honestly, when I was trying to come up with the questions. Granted, some of them I got by just Googling pub quiz questions and seeing if I could find a good one. But I reckon if I was handed that quiz, I'd have got at least 60% of them. At least. Some of them were fucking easy. American geography, some of them couldn't get. It was like smallest state, largest state, most populous cities, shit like that. Like, no, people there were just fucking useless. And I don't get it. And then the bartender said to me, you'll have to make them easier for next time. Just ask them questions about The Simpsons or some shit. I was like, is that a fucking pub quiz? What's Homer's son called? Who the fuck's not going to get that? There's no point in having a pub quiz if everybody in there gets 60 out of 60, is there? The worst pub quiz known to man. Oh, Gone Wrong Doll. Gone Wrong Doll. I've got a bone to pick with you, Gone Wrong Doll, right? If anybody saw, yeah, only Americans can go to war, not do with. Yeah, that is funny. I did once see, you know, when that Jimmy Kimmel does that thing where he takes a map out with the big black and white lines, so just showing the world's map without anywhere named. And he asked them where Ukraine was. And he did 100 people. And I think out of the 100, 3 got it right. And 16 of them put the pin in America. So he asked 100 Americans, where's Ukraine on a map? And 16 of them put the fucking pin somewhere in the United States. Can you believe that? So some thick cunt in like Alabama's gone, and put a pin in like fucking Oregon. Which, if you don't know, is on the west coast of the United States. So that's fucking brilliant, isn't it? That's like asking, if you asked an Englishman, where's Ukraine on a map? Knowing, now again, I know this sounds snooty, but I think none would put the map in the UK. Not a single one of them. They might not get it right. Some of the thick ones will put it in Western Europe. You know, you might get a few thick ones, put it in Spain or fucking France. But nobody would put it in Scotland or England, would they? Lunacy. Oh yeah, and my bone to pick with Gone Wrong Dollies, right? Those of you that were disagreeing with my musical tastes on YouTube, that's fair enough, right? Yeah, everyone's allowed to their own opinions. I hate snooty gatekeepers, right? I used to collect comics for like 20 years when I was a young lad. I only quit when I was about 28. Sort of grew out of it. Got some comics when I was 28 and realised actually these are a bit shit now and stopped collecting them. But I used to have thousands of them. I don't want to be one of those gatekeeping wankers like comic book guy, but everybody's allowed to have different tastes in music, right? So I'm not having a pop at Gone Wrong Doll or anybody else in the chat who doesn't like 90s era sort of Britpop indie rock music, because obviously that's what I grew up listening to. So I like it. But the Born to Pick is, 2018 was mint. Yeah, watched Ready for years, loved it. The Born to Pick is calling something manufactured annoys me when they're not manufactured, because it's all well and good being a metalhead or a grebo or a goth or, any of that. It's fine. We're all allowed different tastes. But manufactured means something. I'm argumentative and I care about the definitions of words. One Direction are a manufactured band. Oasis, you can hate them all you like. I personally fucking love them because that's what I grew up listening to. But fucking Oasis are not a manufactured band, right? The fucking working class scrubbers from a council estate with a drunk Irish dad. Bonehead was like a plasterer. I think the other cunt was a bus driver. Liam was just a burglar and did nout. And Noel was a roadie for like some other shit band. So this isn't about taste in music. This is about me being a chippy northern working class bloke. And I don't like fellow chippy almost northern. Manx are almost northern. Not really northern, are they? They all go, we're northern, fuck off. Manchester's almost southern. But they're basically, they're working class lads from a fucking sink estate in Manchester. And I take umbrage to anybody calling a working class lad who's never had fuck all, right, his whole life. Don't call him manufactured. Someone like Harry Styles is going to be a middle class arsehole in a manufactured band. But Oasis, you can hate the music. That's fucking fine. But don't call Oasis middle class manufactured wankers. Like, to be in England, I know the class system in America is very different from in the UK. But just because Noel and Liam Gallagher have got money now doesn't make them upper crust twits. Like, those lads come up fucking rough in a shithole town. So I take umbrage with that and Gone Wrong Doll. They are not a fucking manufactured band. Neither are the Happy Mondays or the Stone Roses. However, as my father said the same thing, I think anyone over the age of about 50 hates Oasis. They did rip off a lot of shit off the Beatles. But again, they acknowledge that themselves, right? Noel Gallagher doesn't think he's a genius. He told everyone, I wrote Most of Definitely Maybe in half an hour with 5 chords, and I ripped half of it off the Beatles. Like, he's not a wanker, Noel Gallagher. I like Oasis. Angry Bootneck absolutely loves Oasis, so I'll just be honest about that. But don't call them fucking manufactured from a council estate, lads. Oh, look, fucking lefty arseholes in the chat again. Change the rules. We're talking about Oasis and you're still having a drip. Still having a fucking drip, eh? Well, keep on dripping. Keep on dripping. I don't care. I don't know what rules I changed there. I don't know what rules I changed. If you're from a council estate, then you can't be a middle class arsehole, can you? Just seems logical to me. Anyway, totally acceptable not to like Oasis, however. My own father and everybody else over the age of about 50 fucking detests them. So fair play. Not a gatekeeper here. I don't anything to do with the arts is subjective, right? I don't like people that behave as the fucking gatekeepers with entertainment, right? It's like, you do you. Same with art, right? Fucking, I hate some of the big famous ones, especially all the fucking postmodernist twats. But it's subjective, right? I like Turner if I had to pick an English one. But yeah, there's no such thing as a middle class council estate. As man. And I did listen to Heads on Paul's, yeah. Not terrible. Again, I'm not mega into metal. I don't know what type of genre would that be. Like, sort of heavy metal, thrash metal, or fucking rockabilly. I don't know, mixture of the two. Not bad. Wasn't terrible. But yeah, not really into the proper head banging music. Again, I like pop music, basically. I'm not an arts person. I don't get too into anything like that. Music, TV, cinema, theatre. I'm a bit of a barbarian. It's not my number one fucking thing. So that's why I don't get anally retentive about any of the arts. Yeah, you do you. But basically, if I'm picking music like that, I like the sort of pop chart friendly stuff, like Breaking the Law I liked by Was it Judas Priest or Maxi Priest? I get them mixed up with the fucking reggae ones. Judas Priest, breaking the law, breaking the law. That was good. Liked a bit of few of Ozzy's are good, right? Yeah, there's a few, but typically the chart-friendly ones. I'm not a metalhead. Anyway, not here to talk about music. We're here to talk shit about news. Judas Priest, that's it, yeah. Right, let's do some fucking news. I've defended northern working class people enough for one day. Let's do some news. So, the Ukraine war, Russia warns Sweden and Finland against NATO membership. You know what this made me think, right? You know how I was saying about I can link this to my opinions related to statues. I talked at length back in the day when we were having this big discussion about felling statues because they were they upset people, right? And the point I tried to make out to normal, reasonable, centrist people, which is most of my audience. There's a few far right lads, and there's a couple of woke wankers, but most people can judge both sides of an argument and obviously make a decision. When it comes to statues, I understand why, if it's a really conscientious issue, like the division of the United States, I understand why some people would find it offensive a little bit to have a Confederate general up in your town. But the point I tried to make to these people was, it's only a statue, right? Certainly they've hijacked the whole debate and tried to turn it into a racial issue because they know that that works. The reason they've done this, it's why they always talk about race and they always talk about safety, because woke wankers have been trained, just as the BLM founders say, right? Trained Marxists. They've been to college and university. They have their heads full of shit, thanks to the communist professors, and they know exactly what to say to win. These people have been trained to seize political power, and the proof is in the pudding. Again, the loonies on the left, I'll argue about it, but it's a proven fact because they've already seized all the power, even though nobody likes them, right? The woke make up about 5% of the population, and yet for some reason, they control everything. They can't win an election, but they still control everything. Think of that. Just think of that. And again, and any lefties in the chat, I defy you to prove me wrong. They can't win a fucking election. If you want to set public policy, back when the world was saying you had to win an election. But now, Boris Johnson ran as a Conservative. The party is called the Conservative Party. He ran on a Conservative platform with a Conservative manifesto that said, we will definitely sort out the immigration problem. We will definitely shore up the border. And we will introduce an Australian-style point system, and we're going to sort out the immigration. And then they win the election, and they're woke. They're woke. We're ran by an internationalist, globalist, woke cabal, even though everybody voted Conservative. And then look at the United States. Look no further. There's Exhibit A. There's Exhibit A. The biggest, most powerful, most important country, the leader of the free world. Joe Biden was in politics 40 fucking years as, by all logical standards, a centrist. On any political compass you would look at, Joe Biden was not a fucking far left twat. At no point. Sadwings, this is again where I disagree with all of the right wingers. When you call people like Joe Biden a communist, he just isn't. Obama, they were like, oh, he's a Kenyan Marxist communist. He wasn't a communist. He did some sly shit like Tony Blair. But Obama was a communist. He's still, at the end of his tenure, you still aren't a capitalist society. You had a slightly larger welfare state. Little things there, but he deported millions of fucking Mexicans and you still had a capitalist country, right? So let's not do the nonsense, right? Joe Biden not a communist. Didn't run on a communist manifesto, ran on a moderate platform. So even if he won legitimately, which can't talk about that too much or you get banned, but let's just say there's a lot of people questioning it. Even if he did win legitimately, Biden has no mandate to do any of the shit he did because all of his career, 40 years of it, and his election campaign was based off him being a centrist. So you vote them in, and then what do you get? Wokeism. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Europe, Macron, woke, Merkel, fucking conservatives in Germany, woke. Conservatives in England, woke. Conservatives in fucking America are the only ones that are actually conservative, but really, their Democrat Party was always roughly where the British Conservative Party was. Woke. So the problem is, as I keep telling you, sorry, I'm just thrown by that comment. Sorry, you don't understand what Marxist subversion is. That's exactly what I'm talking about. How do I not understand what Marxist subversion is? We vote for conservatives, we get communists. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They tell us that they're fucking conservatives, and when they come in, they're woke cunts. I think that's me exactly talking about Marxist subversion, isn't it? Pointing out that they've taken over the education system, taken over the universities, taken over the pillars that once were trusted by the people, right? They've got MI5, they've got MI6, they've got the British Army, they've got the College of Policing, they've got Channel 4, the BBC, they've got the government, they've got the House of Lords, the Houses of Parliament. I'm talking about Marxist subversion, Hannah. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter who you vote for, you get woke. This is what I'm saying. And I think it's got to the point where, as a result of this, we have to start questioning ourselves, almost like the Nazis did in that great sketch by the Peep Show lads. You must have seen that, where they're dressed up as the Nazis and they've got the big skulls and the SS uniforms. And he's like, Hans, are we the baddies? I think it's got to the point where we need to realise that we may be the baddies. Like, again, I'm not defending Russia, but Russia's not a democracy, but neither are we. We aren't a democracy, are we? We aren't. Are we the bad guys? Maybe we are. Biden, do you think, as I've said to Sadwings many times, do you think America's a free country? Really? We've got slightly more freedom of speech, but it's all an illusion. None of us are free people. It doesn't matter who you vote for, you get woke. So you're not a free fucking nation. Everyone's going on about Le Pen. Honestly, do you think, after all we've seen in the last 10 years, they would even allow it to happen? They just won't. It's an illusion that we're free people. Brexit and Trump were the nails in our coffin because they hadn't yet stitched it up. But when they happened, they went, right, we're fucking sorting this shit out. So I think it's time we question ourselves, are we the bad guys? Because this story about how Finland and Sweden always said they were never going to join NATO because they knew it was going to cause issues on the Eastern Front, right? And now the US are like, nah, get him in. It's like all of the sort of globalist leaders are just, no, get him in. And it's like, the reason I started talking about this and discussing it with relation to statues is for this reason, right? Any student of war knows that the reason you put statues up is because you want to prevent another war. And I'm going to outline this via the medium of one of my favorites, historic fantasy, right? The reason they build statues of their enemies in all the books you read is to honor them and say, yes, we defeated you, but you fought bravely. Think of it this way. Clever people throughout history have known you have to be magnanimous in victory. Because if you're not magnanimous in victory, You are merely delaying the next conflict. That's why you should let people have their statues, because that is the only way to turn conflict into peace. Or to use another analogy, there's only two ways to defeat an enemy: destroy them utterly or make them a friend. Right? And people that have been to war know this. That's why the fucking powers that be, the clever people that run things, none of the twats we vote in, put such strict rules of engagement in on soldiers when we deploy anywhere, right? Because if you go somewhere like Northern Ireland, is a classic example. Northern Ireland was unbelievable. They used to make you sign in and sign out your ammunition. Every round was counted for. And they would drill us and drill us and drill us and drill us for months before we deployed about when you can and when you can't shoot. And they made it very clear that if you ever shot anyone and you weren't 110% certain that the person you shot entirely deserved it, they were like, you must act as if there's 50 cameras on you at all times, because there is. You're in a first world nation, in a conscientious conflict, and if you fuck up, we will nail you to the wall for it, right? And the reason they have to do that, and you understand this as you age, when you're 19, you go on your first deployment, and you see people who you knew were killers. It used to annoy you that they were walking around as free men. But you quickly grasp that the reason these rules exist is because humans are we're flawed apes, aren't we? We're flawed, evolved apes. We're aggressive. We're angry. We hold grudges. That's why you have the plantation of Ulster in 1609 and fucking Catholics and Protestants are still hating on each other 400 years later. If you fucking kill somebody who doesn't entirely deserve it, everybody who was ever mates with them, and especially the children in their immediate family, will probably pick something up and want to hurt you with it. This is human nature. That's why we have extremely strict rules of engagement. They are a double-edged sword indeed, Davy boy, but you do need them, because in this day and age, that's the only option. If you let loose the dogs of war, you have to be willing to basically commit genocide, because for every person you kill, you create 3 more enemies. Unless you're willing to fucking go through a country, which is, as we all know, why the Americans lost in Vietnam. It wasn't because the Americans lacked the military capability to wipe the Viet Cong and basically half of the country off the face of the earth. It's because they understood this. And the reason the VC kept fighting is because they also understood this. And then, in fact, we could vanish down the rabbit hole in Vietnam. It's a fantastic war that I've read loads about. Definitely the best soundtrack in war history. Loads of class films and loads of amazing books. And Ho Chi Minh was a clever twat. And obviously he got the whole Tet Offensive, he squared that away because he wanted to get rid of the proper commies. It was all fantastic stuff reading about Vietnam. And I've devoured loads of books about that, so I know all the numbers. Americans lost 66,000. This might have changed since I read my hardback book in the noughties. But Americans lost 66,000 men. Vietnamese lost 2 million. The Americans didn't lose the war in Vietnam because they lacked the military capability to do it. The Americans lost the war in Vietnam because clever people understand what I'm telling you is a fact. If you're not willing to commit genocide and butcher everybody, because the kids will get you and the grandkids will get you, so you got to get them all, right? If you're not willing to wipe absolutely everybody out, the only alternative is to fight, degrade the enemy, and then have a brokered peace. And when it comes time to broker peace, you have to give them things that you don't want to give them. That is why a peace process, it's the only way a peace process can occur. We rebuilt Japan. We gave a shitload of money to Germany. Why? Because we knew we had to. Because the The First World War caused the Second World War. And if we didn't fucking act amiably and peaceably and respectfully towards the Germans and the Japanese, then we were only delaying the inevitable. You fucking degrade them, starve the poor bastards, destroy the morale completely. Then they just think, fuck it then. I might as well fight until you have to wipe us all off the face of the earth. By definition, nobody's happy when you get a peace process, right? And that's what Davy Boy's talking about with regards to not unleashing the dogs of war, rules of engagement being a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword. It grips your shit when you have to be nice to people that you were once trying to stab or who have killed your friends, right? But you have to do it, or else just keep on killing. Just keep killing each other until there's no more killing to be had. It's not a workable solution. So the reason you let the South have statues is because you must honour the enemy. You must honour the vanquished. And you can honour them, right? I can say the Taliban were brave. Of course they fucking were. The IRA were brave. Politicians, being the know-nothing lunatics that they are, always call everyone a coward, as if insulting people is the order of the day when you're in front of a TV camera. Isn't it childish that we just insult people? They call them cowards. Now, you can take umbrage with me if you're a British veteran, but again, I know the names because I've read the books. Stephen Restorick, Lance Bombardier Stephen Restorick was the youngest, was the last lad to die on operations in Northern Ireland. When Stephen Restorick was shot, murdered, was murder, he was fucking just stood at a checkpoint checking a young woman's driving license. He was stood at a checkpoint and you have sniper shoot him cold-bloodedly in the chest because he hates him, because of all the shit I've talked about before. Nothing brave. Now, well, leaving an IED is easy, right? This is different. But I'm talking about people who were operating as a sniper team when they knew the SAS and airborne assets and everybody else was after them, right? If you're going to risk your life to take on your enemies, it requires bravery. The IRA did it. The Taliban did it. Because you can do nothing. This is... some of you guys sound like the fucking politicians. You can do nothing. If people are pissing you off, you can go, well, someone else will sort it out. You can do nothing. By definition, it requires bravery to pull a gun out and point it at somebody who's also got one, right? That's as simple as I can make it. So it requires bravery. All politicians do is call everyone a coward. Oh, cowardly attack, cowardly attack. It's cowardly attack when you do what that fucking jihadi did, who murdered David Amis, and pull a knife out and start stabbing the shit out of a pensioner, right? That's cowardly. They won't call him cowardly, though. They didn't. Have you noticed? They didn't condemn him as a coward. Oh, no, that's just for. I guess that's for white terrorists. But it requires guts to pull a gun out and point at someone who's got a gun, right? So there is that. And you have to honour your enemy. You have to. You don't want to see your enemy get away with it. They released loads of killers for the IRA under the peace process. No, neither side's happy. The veterans aren't happy because they're releasing murderers. The IRA's not happy because they haven't got a united Ireland. Neither side's happy. That's how you get a peace process. The Confederate generals need to be honoured because if you just go, fuck the Confederate generals, bulldoze them all, bulldoze them all, and then this is getting into why America's divided. You know, notice how they keep going on about that now. Oh, America's divided. America's divided. Well, who's doing the fucking divided? Think about who's doing the divided. The woke, what's the polite term for them again? Cunts, right? The woke cunt, every day, bulldoze the statues, dig up fucking General Lee, throw him in the fucking lake, call them all inbred, mock them constantly, make TV shows about them, movies about them. They're all stupid, they're all inbred, they're all ignorant, they all fuck the sisters, dig up all the statues, fucking bulldoze all the statues, dig up all the dead, fuck them. This is the attitude of the moronic never seen a war in their life, walk cunt. Again, you guys get it. I'm sure Ali Bordo got his windows put in twice by IRA bombs, understands what I'm saying. Some woke twat who's never been anywhere near an explosion doesn't. They think you beat your enemies and you grind them into the dust. Because communists are not very nice and they're happy to grind their enemies into the dust. This is why we get all these genocides, funny old thing. This is why Chairman Mao and Stalin and Pol Pot have strangely high death tolls for this wonderful ideology that apparently brings people together. Love Trump's hate. Love Trump's hate. Burn the orange cunt. Burn him. Kill them all. Yeah, love Trump's hate. That's who we're dealing with. Right? So the commie fuckwits know nothing. Their ideology is a tumour on the bollocks of the world, and they don't know anything. That's why you honour the fallen and even the enemy's fallen. Yes, and you all meet up at the war memorial and shake hands and you say, you know what? Our grandfathers would have probably murdered each other. But we're living in more enlightened times, and I'll honour your dead and you'll honour mine. And even if we don't really mean it, we'll do it anyway because we're not fucking cavemen and we want society to grow great. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get a great society, by having big enough heart to swallow down the bitterness and the hate and the spite and the resentment. Again, all qualities beloved of the left. To swallow down the hate and the resentment and embrace your former foe as a brother. That is the only way you get peace. Which brings me, after 37 minutes of my long, meandering fucking monologue, we got there in the end, to NATO, right? The world has come a long way since the fall of the Soviet Union. I think it's time we, in the West, and again, the world's complicated, please don't start boring me with your, oh my God, he loves Putin, bollocks, because anybody with two brain cells to rub together knows that this is not a zero-sum game, right? It's not black or white, left or right. It's black, 10 million shades of grey, white. I do not support Putin. And again, the poisoning of Alexander Litvinenko is one of the most egregious assaults that I've ever read about. The things that the Russians will do fucking beg a belief. So at no point am I sticking up for them. But again, think about this. Think of the big picture. Think of what I've just said about being the bigger man and embracing your former enemy as a brother, right? We have expanded endlessly. All of the countries on this map joined NATO after 1997. This isn't just saber rattling. This is chaining a saber to a fucking chainsaw, putting in one of those vibration machines they use to test fucking surgical equipment, and then leaving it in there for 2 days. You know, like Bart Simpson did with Homer's beer that one time. This is rattling the world's biggest saber, chained to the world's biggest vibrating dildo. All we've done is saber rattle ever since 1997. And saying that you shouldn't do that is not me saying Russia's brilliant, the good lads, the Russians. But we can defend our fucking selves. Russia doesn't really pose a threat to the European Union, other than nuclear, which we might be fucking rushing towards, right, as a result of this. Because they know that they're fucked. They know they're fucked with Ukraine. As I correctly said, when all the clever people, all the talking heads on TV were going, oh my God, they're just going to steam over Ukraine in 2 weeks and then invade Poland. What are we going to do? And I told you all a week into the fucking battling, it was not going to happen because modern technology is the ultimate force multiplier. What have I said? I've been saying this for years. Not going to happen. So this insane paranoia about Russia is to me the war equivalent of bulldozing the statues. We won the Cold War. Their economy is in the doldrums. They've got less money than the Italians. Their navy's shit. Their army's shit. The generals are shit because they keep getting killed. Why do we insist on constantly antagonizing the Russians? all the time. On a personal level, the Americans, it's like every time you turn the media on, the Russians are Russians. How many times have I talked about this? The real threat is the Chinese dragon. It's going to gobble us all up, but we won't shut the fuck up going on about Russia. All those fucking countries have joined NATO since 1997. And we're like, why are the Russians being such cunts? Well, look at the map. NATO seems to be a bad idea. If the whole reason for having it was to maintain peace, well, we're not doing a very good job, are we? It's not doing a very good job of maintaining peace. Is there peace? Do you see peace? Yeah. Looks like we had peace before like 1997 when fucking 15 other countries joined the bastard thing. Looks like NATO's doing a pretty terrible idea of maintaining peace. So why don't we embrace the idea of forgiveness and extend some olive branches for a change? Clearly the big stick isn't working, right? It just fucking isn't. So I think it's time for, instead of constantly demonizing the Russians and especially the rank Russophobia that we've seen in the last 6 weeks, where people are hating on normal Russian people, instead of hating on Putin, who is the cunt, they're taking out on random Russian people. It's as stupid as picking on anybody who happens to be brown because a terrorist blew up the fucking arena in Manchester. That's ignorant and stupid, isn't it? Because that young Libyan was follower of one specific ideology. And it's even ignorant and stupid to attack a random practitioner of the ideology, because plenty of them are sound lads. Plenty of them, like I always talk about, my mate Atif, who everybody calls a regular at Alan's world famous snack bar, and he isn't. He just happens to be of Pakistani descent. His mum and dad were born there, but he was born in Borough. And he quickly went, that's not for me, lads. Fuck it. And he goes and drinks pints and scorns his arranged marriage to his cousin and fucks off to Thailand with his mates. He'll get called, oh yeah, he's a good regular at Alan's snack bar. He isn't. So it's ignorant to attack even people that share an ideology, let alone attack someone who just happens to be born in Russia. I mean, look at this. These woke people in the chat piss me off. No one's being Russophobic. That's the Kremlin's talking point. Okay, don't believe your own fucking eyes then. Don't go on YouTube or Facebook and see posts with 1 million upvotes where an old Russian man gets pushed down the fucking stairs and everybody's laughing. Stupid Russian. Yeah, it's all right. It's a Kremlin talking point. Give your fucking head a shake, you balmy cunt. Jesus wept. How I long for the day we get an intelligent fucking wokeist in the chat. Just one. Who doesn't ask me to fucking ignore my own eyes and ears. Just say something clever just once, please. Christ on a bike. So that's what we need. We need drawing back of the rhetoric. Stop demonizing a fucking nation because of the actions of a few. And stop saying, let's just keep pushing the borders east. Pushing the borders east. Pushing the borders east. Let's maybe have a step back and think, this peace organization isn't very good at peace. It just isn't. The peace organization ain't very fucking peaceful. So that one is all I've got to say on that, which lasted quite a while. But anyone who's been to war knows it. Anybody who's got a moderate, reasonable thought in the head knows it. You don't demonize the enemy. You respect the enemy. That's how you end a war. That's how you come to the table. You respect your enemy, praise them for the bravery, and help them rebuild. You don't demonize them. I don't care whether you're talking about the Russians, the Germans, the Japanese, or the fucking Taliban. We lost that one. Easy to be magnanimous when you fucking lost, but still, the point remains. All the time we were there, we were trying to be nice to them. We had strict rules of engagement. We didn't just go, oops, there might be a Taliban in that village, bomb the cunt. We didn't, because the powers that be understand this. We have to try and be better. Christ, I almost sound like a hippie today, don't I? I'm a bootneck, and my green beret. I straddle the battlefield like a mighty colossus, and I almost sound like a hippie today. But you all know it makes sense. Can't we just get along? Can't we just get along? Right, let me just look up for one more story before I bugger off. What's funny today? Golf. Nobody's interested in golf. The secret world of Europe's largest hippie commune. I think if I watch that, I'll probably have a stroke. So best we avoid that one, eh? I'll tell you what's a good way. Good one we can touch, because this will touch on the old despicable, brain melting, detestable ideology of wokeism, won't it? The simmering tension between remote and in-office workers. Again, anybody with a brain that is capable of doing basic thought knows the answer to this straight off the bat, right? One of my favorite quotes, like I've said before, if everybody on a building site gets paid with red jelly beans, and then one guy gets some blue ones, and everybody gets told he's got the same amount, they're the same weight, and they taste exactly the same, we just run out of red ones, everyone will start kicking off saying, give me the blue ones, because humans, it's just something about us that sort of craves a bit of envy, a bit of resentment, which is why on this channel, I keep making the point. That's not a way to live your life. If you can't be happy for your fucking mate when he wins the lottery, you're not a good person. And the woke and the far left, their ideology is based off resentment. It's resentment, all of it, as Thatcher said to the socialist twats across from her. You'll be happy if the poor have got less money and less food in the bellies, as long as everybody else has got less food in the bellies as well, right? That's just fucking obvious. And the simmering tension between remote and in-office workers is, if you haven't guessed, a story about companies calling employees back to the workplace, but not all of them. Well, of course, it's stoking resentment among workers and employers. If you fucking tell one bloke, yeah, you can work at home, mate, and then you tell the other guy, fuck it, you have to come in. 9 o'clock sharp. Pressed. Make sure your shirt's pressed, you fucker. Of course there's going to be issues, isn't there? The BBC being the BBC, they've obviously tried to turn it into a status issue and they're claiming that none of the managers are back in. It's just all the employees. Well, who's going to be checking the employees are doing any fucking work if none of the managers are back? Answers on a postcard. Thatcher's speech comes to mind. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, it says our team's small and all of us are on the same page. We don't need to be there. So nobody wants to go to work. Nobody wants to go to work. Weird that. Again, what have we been saying for the last 2 years? People of my political persuasion have been pointing this out for years. This is yet another obvious. Anybody with a hole in their ass could see where this was coming from. Negative output of the pandemic response by the state. Because obviously, it's not just negatively affected children being locked in their house, being not interacting with the family members, but it's obviously negatively impacted adults as well, hasn't it? Because funny old thing, not going in the office every day, there's a lot of things you miss out on. You miss out on the camaraderie, you miss out on the routine, you get a bit of exercise. There's a lot of good aspects to going in. And as I said from the beginning, with regards to the pandemic response, it wasn't a zero-sum game. It wasn't, we do all this and we'll slow the response of COVID, the spread of COVID, and then everything's going to be great. It's not. You have to balance these things. Balance them carefully and do the maths. Think about it. You say, right, if we do nothing, we'll get a higher amount of casualties. That's true. But how much are you going to arrest the casualties? And if we do the lockdown, we're going to get, I don't know, let's think, fucking hell. I reeled it all off months ago, years ago now, didn't I? Addiction, spousal abuse, drug use, alcohol use, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, financial fucking difficulties, businesses collapsing. Humans are social creatures by nature. Indeed, they are. There were anybody who was even remotely aware of risk assessments. Christ, everybody has to do them nowadays. Even the PTIs do them in the military. Knows that you're supposed to look at all the risks and then assess them by importance, try and rank them. And we knew that the pandemic response was going to cause endless shit. It wasn't just slow the pandemic, nice one. It was slow the pandemic and replace the casualties from the pandemic with casualties from other things. And I want to cover this story just to point out that yet another one. So on top of everything else, right, the depression, the anxiety, the addiction, the spousal abuse, the financial meltdown, the debt, the inflation, the fucking drug abuse, all of it, the cancer, the heart disease, the strokes, even fucking dental work. There's people who haven't been able to sleep for a fortnight because they can't get their teeth looked at. And imagine having agonizing toothache for weeks. You just want to do what you did on Castaway and chisel the fucking thing out your skull with an ice skate. It's just go into the back garden with an ice skate and get to it. Fuck it. Ice skate dentistry. It's a shambles. We knew what was going to happen when we started locking people in their houses, and we did it anyway. 6,000 squaddies sleeping on the streets. Shameful, and we're still importing people. Absolutely shocking. So there's another one. Just to add to the long list that I've covered a dozen times, the growing list, we've also got the simmering tension between remote and in-office workers. Winner. Fucking nice one. Anyway, let's draw a line under it. That's nearly an hour. You can have that for free, you twats. I'm going to make a video today. I've saved a story. I was going to cover it on the BBC Spews, but I found a story. It's about the rugby. I pissed myself laughing. I'm going to make a video about it. So tune in for that in a couple of hours. Needless to say, it was about, let me just, one word from the headline grabbed my attention. Body shaming. We've got fucking women's rugby teams now wanting to be the best of the best. And they're talking about body shaming. So yeah, you'll enjoy it. I shall put it up later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out, oh yeah, I'll get a fucking link because I never do it. Don't forget to check out the Twitch one, because if I get inevitably, when I get inevitably hoid off the fucking platform by the communists that run it, you can find me there. And that's about it. Tune in later. I'll get to making that video, and I'll see you twats for a live stream tomorrow on the 12th of April. Marvelous. Hope you all have a good week. See you very soon. Cheers.